Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carl Reiner. Producer, director, actor, writer, written over a dozen books.
Is that better? I appreciate the fact that you can stand up. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to stand up for as long as it's comfortable, and then I will sit down. And then I may stand up again, we don't know. I must say that this is one of the great pleasures in life, to come to a place where they are honoring somebody as close to you as your personal son. Now, there's a phrase you probably don't know, but I'm going to teach it to you. The word, how many people have never heard of the word nachas? Raise your hand. There's 3 of you. No, it's funny, I usually tell this to Goyim, and everybody raises their hand. The word nachas, I've never used this before, but I have said the word nachas before. Shepping nachas is one of the great pleasures in life. And who you shep nachas from is usually somebody very dear to you, somebody of your blood. Well, Robbie Reiner has given me more nachas than anyone has a right to. He started... I have shepped and shepped and shepped and shepped and shepped, and I'm continuing to shep, and tonight, again, I'm going to shep some more. Now, you all know about Robbie, you know what his work is. I'm not going to talk about what his work is because to this day, I say this, and you won't believe me that I'm saying it honestly, that if he were not my son, I would have to say that this man, whose name is Rob Reiner, has made some of the seminally great motion pictures of our generation. I won't listen to you, but I absolutely believe that if he were not my son and Princess Bride comes on the air, sometimes I cannot turn it off. And it's not because he's my son, it's because I get pleasure from it. I laugh. I don't say, oh, my son did that. No, I'm laughing at what I'm looking at. Anyway, I want to tell you not about Rob, the Rob you know. I want to talk about the Rob you couldn't possibly know. I've known him since he's maybe 2 days old. I didn't meet him on this first day because he was born in New York. His mother was with him at the time. And I was in a show in Boston called Call Me Mister. And I was on stage, came off stage, got on the phone, and I was told that I had a son. Came down that Sunday and saw a day-and-a-half-old baby. And Robbie is one of the brightest human beings I know. By the way, this has nothing to do with, it has to do with everything. It has to do with everything. But as I say, he's one of the brightest human beings I know, and one of the most socially conscious people I know. Yoo-hoo is right. Did anybody happen to see Bill Maher last night? Okay, then you will know what I'm talking about. There were a bunch of people on the panel, and Rob was on the panel, and he made about 5 or 6 points about 5 or 6 different subjects. The problems that have to be solved in this country and world for us to exist. And every time he spoke, the audience burst into applause because he hit the nail on the head 5 times. I couldn't have been more proud. I could not have been more proud. Anyway, where did that come from? Well, when he was born, he didn't cry a lot. He did a sound. It's the sound he made. And by the way, one of the great things he did was marry correctly and have 3 great kids. And one of them is here tonight, my granddaughter, Romy. Romy, stand up. I want you to know who I'm talking about. She is so brilliantly talented. Oh, this has nothing to do with anything, but it does. I want to talk about the gold moment. Do you mind? She is a wonderful photographer. The family went to Africa to see the whole migration of all the beasts, and they filmed it, and Romy caught it on film. And she came home, and at her school at Wildwood, she had a wall of these great photos of animals. It was brilliant, beautifully brilliant. Her mother was a photographer, said she has a better eye than she, and I think she may be right. Anyway, these people come up, and this is, I have to say it, I shouldn't have said their name though. There's a family who, you know, like the people of Helm, they always say something a little wrong. Yeah, this woman came up and saw the film on the wall, and Romy was there, and she came over to Romy. She says, "Were you there for all of these?" Okay, somebody doing that from hell. Okay. So anyway, about Robbie. Robbie did not, from the day he was born, he did not cry much, but he made a sound that I'll never forget to this day. In his crib, he kept saying, "Gittin, gittin, gittin, gittin." Gittin, gittin, gittin. He'd wiggle and go, "Gittin, gittin, gittin, gittin." It was not a cry. He cried when he wanted to be breastfed, but who wouldn't? But what I do remember is that he was born, and I was in a show called Call Me Mister, and Estelle came. His mother, Estelle, was maybe the greatest woman I ever met in my whole life. You don't know it. Where are you going? You're taking on my word. Anyway, she came. I was on tour with Call Me Mister, and we were traveling across the country. And we were in San Francisco, and Robbie was about 6 months old. Robbie never bothered to sleep. His eyes were always open, he was always looking around, and that's why he knows so much. He took in everything, and I'm not kidding. I really believe this is so. The crib personality is usually what you are. Well, Robbie, when he was 6 months old, in San Francisco, we could not get him to sleep. We used to rock him, I'd sing to him. I remember singing, "You're gonna leave old Texas now. There's no more use for the longhorn cow." There's 25 stanzas of that song. I used to rock him and sing that song. The eyes would be wide open. I remember doing this once, singing this song and blowing in his eyes. He had to close his eyes because there was a wind in his eyes, and sometimes it would work, but most of the time he was awake. In San Francisco, at night, I would come home from the show, and Estelle said, "He's still awake." I said, "Well, it's hot out, and we had a little tiny apartment." I said, "Let's go for a walk." And we put the carriage, we put him in a little stroller. And in San Francisco, you know the hills. We lived on a corner where there were hills going down, hills going up. There was no straight, so we were going up and down hills. But we decided to, instead of going down hills, we crossed the street and kept crossing the street. About we crossed the street, we come to a street lamp, and we rock the thing. We come to a street lamp, and we look in. Eyes are wide open. 3 hours later, I'm not crying. Why? Eyes wide open. He must have fallen asleep sometime, maybe 3 years ago, for a few years. I don't know, because he never slept when I could see it. And I think that is why the man is alert. He sees and hears everything. And I would like you to meet this man whom I'm talking about, the apple of my eye, and probably his wife's and children's too, Rob Reiner.